Anu mama no. Okay, bo mama. Abia lere nyo anyi bo sisama. O sisama mi ambora ma anyi zurezu neme o. Abia lere nyo anyi zurezu. O sisama mi ambora ma anyi zurezu neme. Abia lere nyo.
This is a meeting that we are expecting to hear from Eze Aro. So I think at this time, if you'll allow me to open the floor for Eze Aro to talk to us, then we'll take it from there.
Biko Iyanano Olum.
I know.
Aro Mamana.
Yeah.
Work with Mamana. Yeah. Umuayori horihe. Obi dị m ụtọ ukwuu na anyị nwere nzukọ a n'abalị taa. Ọ dị m ezigbo ụtọ ịvụ Umuaro zana mba dị iche iche. Mvụgbala ndị eze America, ndị eze United Kingdom, all over the world. Logo in. Ekele dịrị inyi. Anyị nọ nwanaro zanaro na log in. I'm wearing technical issues with the internet. Yeah. Hopefully that's one of the problems we'll have to resolve. So people can work from Aro remotely and have seamless connection to the internet. Biko, I made you to Aro kwo ba oboba kwo okwu. Onwe ndị na-anaghị anụba Igbo Aro. Biko ndị nọ nso tapiara wee ka wo họtatụ. Obobo anyị chọrọ ịkpa tandị na bụ ikwutu nwa ụmụ ihe ole na ole Umuaro kwesịrị ịnụ ntamanya banye na ajụjụ na ọsịsa. Nke mbụ bụ na Chineke merela anyị ihe ebe ọ dị ukwuu. Iwepụtara anyị eze ụgbọ onwe Eberechukwu Oji. Ịkọwata onwe m ndị na-amụtabeghị m, ndị na-avụbekwana gị, ndị na-anụbekwana mgbe m na-ekwu okwu mbụ. Nwa-Mazi Oji, Eze Aro Oji, onye chere Aro nta Mazi Vincent abịachia tam ya na-abata m onwe n'aka. Ndị na-avụbeghị profaịlụ m, ịkọwatụ na m toro n'ala Aro. Gụọ akwụkwọ from primary school zana mba Isukwato Novim. Zani bon ga Methodist College Uzakoli. Zani bon ga Emmanuel College Nowhere. Zani bon by Federal University of Technology Nowhere. Go electrical and electronics engineering. By Oro Beke. Zana NMPC. By Noro Shell. Na Aroro Pro Masters. Na electrical and electronics engineering with University of Benin, or masters in petroleum technology na Cotton University Australia. Go my MBA with Warwick University in the UK. Roro with Shell for 22 years. My last work na Oro Shell when a Nigerian LNG. Zane bon puta by private practice. Roto with company and at Bonekondo Buanwa, na Chikata company and at ND Western. On which you go through Umuaro Onwem, Kandem Madahota Onyema, Umafaro, through na balance, Mana internally, nominally, I hear Basararo, Basara na Demotoku. agodi ugbu a ụbụba anyị na-akpa n'abalị a bụ onwe ndị nwere ajụjụ onwe ndị nwere ihe chọrọ ịghọta ma ịmata anyị akọwarawo kama ọ ma dị mma ikwuturu ndị ọbụla na onwe ihe akwụkwọ agbara n'ụlọ ikpe a sị na ihe gbasara agaza họpụta eze biko anyị agakwa n'ibe ọhụ maka na nke ahụ nọ n'ụlọ ikpe kama onwe ihe ndị ọdọ Umuaro chọrọ ịnụ anyị ma etigba ya ọnụ n'abalị taa kwuokwara n'ụmụ arụ aga m ihe ndị anyị bidoro na-ele ameme n'ala arụ ka ala arụ dị mma taa ndị na ntamanya bata na ụbụba anyị na-akpa n'abalị taa mụ na ndị eze ogo zukọtara anyị atịkọta isi ọnụ si ndị ihe na ihe ekwesịrị ime ka aliarụ gaa n'ihu ka aliarụ dị na obi dị m ụtọ ukwuu na mmadụ dum bịara na nzukọ ọhụ woo kwetara na ihe emebila ahụ anyị dịka arụ ebe ọ dị ukwuu anyị kwesịrị ime gbalụ ka anyị bido meziwe ihe ndị a mebinahụrụ anyị na aliarụ ka ebido meziwe ya ihe ndị rutere anyị ma oke rutere anyị dịka ndị mmadụ dịka ndị arụ ekwesịrị iji ugbu a bido haziwe ihe ndị ọhụụ meziwe ihe ndị ọhụụ anyị si na nke mbụ anyị mekpe udo vụ na udo chịrị n'ala arụ vụ na anyị nọkọtara ọnụ dịka ụmụ arụ n'agbanyeghị aga ihe zaga rute ugbu a anyị wụ ụmụnne anyị dum anyị wụ ụmụnne anyị wụ ụmụ arụ dịka ụmụ bekee ụmụ arụ ụmụ Chineke ihe ọbụla aga ọbụla ọzọ aga ụmụ arụ nwere aga amamihe dị iche Chineke nyere wo ji achịkọta onwe mere ndị mba ji elekwasị anya ihe taa ike n'ala Igbo ma ọ na ebe dị iche iche asị ka abịawa arụ agaghị ahụ kwesịrị ịdị gaa n'ihu so nke mbụ udo maachị n'ala arụ onwe ihe ndị anyị kwesịrị ime iji vụ na udo chịrị n'ala arụ nke ahụ ihe mbụ anyị ma etinye ọnụ tinye aka vụ na anyị mere anyị na-abaza dịkwa n'ibe ọhụ bịa lewe anya na aga aza achịkọta arụ ịchịkọta arụ dịgba na aga ọdịgba na iche na-adịchakwa aga ọ dị o kwesịrị ịdị anyị aba jiri nwayọọ chịkọtawo ọnụ vụ na ịchịkọta arụ za na ezi pụọ na eze ogo pụọ na eze kindred rute na eze arụ na ihe ndị ọhụrụ na-ahazigbara ya ahazigba so nke ahụ ka ebute ya nwa nkenke iji wepụta dị okwu na nzute anyị taa wụ nzute kwuo nụrụ zaa ka onye ọbụla nwee opoto onwe ajụjụ nwere ajụọ onwe ndị oke mmadụ na-arụ ahọpụtara na-etinye ọnụ n'okwu agụụ ma bụ onye ọbụla bịara na nzukọ anyị a mgbe anyị nọgbara si ka anyị chịkọta okwu ewere obi ụtọ na ọṅụ were chịkọta okwu ahụ ndị anyị ndewo arụ mmanụ ndewo
Eze Chineke gọzie gị
ma gịkwa
ndewo Eze Aro Chukwu gọzie gị ikwuru. I think it's proper for us to start with Mazi Eugene Okey Imuoh from Arochukwu on a line.
It's on the line.
Okay, Mazi Okey, Biko, over to you. And Biko, we have a total of 40 minutes for 5 people. More Onyema, but I think 40 divided by 5 comes to about 8 minutes each. Or is it more than, yeah, about 8 minutes each. So if you could keep your talk within 8 minutes, bearing in mind that people may want to ask you questions within those 8 minutes. However, Biko, even though I have say 40 minutes, if I can use my moderator, to say, let's make it 10 minutes. So if you take say 4 or 5 minutes to do your talk, then in your 5 minutes for people to ask questions.
Okay, so you have the floor.
Mazi.
Eugene Okey Imuoh from Umuaro. I just want to bring to the Majesty this evening. I go to the Sana. Any land in me, and I go by it. I am well as I will. Over the one and 10 I buy in the night. And they don't come to you and soon I do well. Your Majesty. You follow now, police. If you go for in the scene or the woman or the woman. Actually, as you go out for the most of the name highland. Now, police strategy, I jama now. God, two guys is over. You can't boy, you may take a talk so that's how you put. You can't be married behind it to our dad. In my river, our dad. In my room, you see our dad. Pastor Emerald, a Christian within Christian Church of God. You may take one.
On any question or comment na ihe Mazi Onyema kwuru.
Ka m zana ya. And onwe dịkwa ndị ọdọ chọrọ iti ọnụ wee iti dịkwa ọnụ. Ọ bụ ka anyị na-akpa.
His Majesty, because Eze Aro. I will go again. I will
Okay.
Yes, then here. I got quite a good question. His Majesty may your reign be long. So, I humble Mazi Sonny, Chief Sonny Arukwe. No. We can't. I moderator into any.
Yes.
Moderator.
Yes.
Please, we should allow His Majesty to take questions. People can then make comment thereafter, please. That's why he's here with us in our midst, okay? He will clear issues for the trolls straight away. Then people can make comment.
Okay.
Please, he's here with us.
Mazi Sonny Arokwe when you
okay.
Since
no problem. It's only my opinion.
Yeah, because but since that's the opinion, and especially since His Majesty decided to come in, let's give him that honor. And Mazi Arokwe, because I ask you that favor honorably.
I accept.
Ndewo. Yeah. Mazi ekele m gị na ajụjụ jụrụ. Nke mbụ ndị ihe dị iche anyị eme iji vụ na udo dị na udo chịrị. Ndị agaghị m aza mee udo a. Nke mbụ bụ na ọ bụrụ na ndị nọ na line na-egetu ihe ọbụla anyị metụgbara. Na meeting nke mbụ mụ na ndị ochie na Aro metụgbara. Ihe mbụ anyị wepụtara bụ ma kpọọ ya committee or program. Anyị kwuru peace, reconciliation and unity initiative. That initiative anyị si ndị nzukọ Aro biko nyere anyị aka na iji vụ na Umuaro nọ n'ibe dị iche iche ọnụ na-eru n'okwu bụ ndị kwaidere ma ndị na-akwaide ma aga ọza dị na anyị vụrụ anyị na-wo akpa ọbụbụ ọ dịghị aga okwu zadi ikpiti ama eti ya ọnụ o doro anyị anya na ọ bụghị na gị na mmadụ bidoro ime udo n'izu olu kama nọ megba udo kama ọ bụrụ na obi gị siri ike bụrụ na ị kwetara na udo dị mkpa na n'ime eme ihe ọbụla nọ gị n'ike iji vụ na udo chịrị anyị ebidokwala n'ije ọhụ anyị avụla ntụtụ ndị mmadụ anọtụrụla kpaa ọgbụgbọ si na ka udo chia n'Aro. Nzukọ anyị n'abalị taa wụkwa ihe olu ọhụ eji vụ na onwe ndị nọ n'ibe dị iche iche anyị enwebeghị opoto ikwuru okwu na wụvụrụ m na wụ m bịara kwuoro okwu siwo na udo ma chi n'ala Aro ihe ọbụla anyị ma eme ka anyị mee ka udo chi ya n'ala Aro. So nke ahụ bụ ịza gị nke mbụ. Nke abụọ ịjụrụ mma ebe awada dị n'Aro mma ebe awada dị n'Aro ịchọ ụlọ m n'onwa na baraki anyị aza baraki gaa awada na ugwu a ị na-ajụ makwa ndị si awada. Part of the consultations that we have been doing or aga anyị za na-asọ achịchịkata awada ịchịkata udo n'Aro wụ anyị na Eze Ọtụsị wụ onye isi ndị awada anyị na-ekwu okwu na-achọ aga ma aza achịkata ihe na Aro ka udo chia n'Aro. So Mazi Ono onye Eze Ọtụsị onye na-achịkata awada Aro nji ohere a na-ekele gị na ajụjụ ị jụrụ. Nke ọdọ wụ dịka onye ọdịn pastọ ma gapụ awada azala m ajụjụ ya ntụtụ mgbe nwafọ Aro ahụ m Eze Aro ọ dịghị ebe nọ n'ala Aro ma agapụ nke ahụ awụghị ihe ọbụla na ịgara awada na ịga awada awụghị ihe mere ụka gị nwa Chineke. Ihe ndị ahụ vestiges of our custom and culture which we need to respect and preserve. N'agbanyeghị nke a ekwuola m mgbe dị ntụtụ na ewu nwa Aro wụrụ nwa Chineke wụrụ pastọ ma ọ wụrụ Christian apụtaghị na ihe gbasara omenala na ịma tuvia na ịma akpasasị ya na ime emebi ya ihe dị agọ. Akwụkwọ nsọ si nye Siza nke wụ Siza nye Chineke nke wụ Chineke. Azala m ajụjụ a ntụtụ mgbe kama mgbe ọbụla ajụkwara ya anyị akọzie ya dozie ya ka ndị mmadụ ka o doo anya. O doro anya na anyị wụ ụmụ Aro ihe ziri ezi n'Aro anyị emezie ya emezi nke na-ezighị ezi n'Aro anyị asị ka anyị kwụsịtụ ndị nke ọhụụ na-ezighị ezi. Aro mma mmanụ.
I am proud of my king. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go to Adaukwu Alaezi in Dallas, suburb of Dallas. Adaukwu, they ready? Hello, Adaukwu.
Yes, they ready.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
Ndewo Adaukwu.
Eze Aro, it is my delight to congratulate you, Nsimkelegi, for accepting to serve Arochukwu community. An easy thing for a young man of your age to accept. Ndewo, Imele, we are grateful. Comment nke mbụ nwere gbasara ihe ndị bi na diaspora, particularly ndị bi na US. A lot of people Umuaro bi na ali bekee na-ata afụfụ woruo ọrụ n'ụtụtụ woruo n'okori arụọ na mgbe abalị arụọ na weekend to make ends meet and to save money. A lot of inflow, about 20 billion per annum, naga from US to Nigeria. It's an estimate. And Umuaro contribute to these statistics. And a lot of Umuaro na chokwano, just like in Dodo, to bring money home and invest. Akuruno, oya nekuya. Nsi ka m jụọ Eze Aro ma ha na ha eche ihe o nwere ike ime ka ha nwee ike ime encourage Umuaro a ha welata ikpeghe a wotara avụrụọ ka wo welata ya n'ala Aro ka eme invest n'ala Aro instead of ịgawa neighboring cities dịka Owerri, Umuahia, Port Harcourt ma Uyo ime invest. Nke ọhụ contribution nke mbụ m chọrọ ka Eze Aro ma onye chọkwara itinye ọnụ tinye. Nke ọdọ m nwekwara unu abịa hụ na Aro ugbu a ọtụtụ ụmụrịm anyị maka adị m concerned. Abụ m a daughter, abụ m a wife, abụ m a mother and a grandmother of many. Enwere proliferation of drug use and abuse in our kingdom. And this has been fueled by the incidence of cultism in our community. Enwere who programs anaghị eche palace meji may initiate inyere ụmụrịma aka so that they don't go that route. Maka ọ dị mkpa ukwuu ụmụrịma anaghị abịa ugbu a ọ ha nwa in few years ha nwa o future Arochukwu nwere. Ihe ọdọkwa nọ m n'obi m chọkwara ịmanye aka o pattern nọbe na-develop in the last few decades. Ọ ihe mụ na-ekuje mgbe ka mụọla nwa at the age of 11. Hey, Adanne bịa kwakpara nzu mgbe ka mụọla nwa. Ị na-atọ nkwa na-ele mgbeke ọ bụrụkwa nwata. Ndị anyị na-eme inwe ike inyere ndị ụmụrịma aka to prevent this phenomenon. And akwanụ consequences anyị na-ebu n'obi maka ndị ochie ụja n'aka. Ndị nna ndị Okibiri adị 70 or more na-create problem a. Ndị anyị na-eme to stop these atrocities. Ndewonu, agụ ha m n'olu n'abalị for now.
Thank you.
Moderator.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, to open now.
Go ahead, Eze Aro.
Adaukwu Aro, anyị na-ekele gị.
Ndewo nna m.
Anyị na-ekele gị na ọnụ ititụrụ anyị n'okwu. Okwu ndị kwutere dị m obi ụtọ ukwuu. Maka na ọ dị ka ị nọ na meeting anyị na ndị Ezeogo nwere taa. Ma nke anyị na ndị security forces nwere taa. Ma nke anyị na ndị youth nwere taa. So iji kọwara ndị nọ na meeting anyị, nọ na nzukọ anyị taa. Anyị bidoro anyị na ndị security agencies. They are heads of security agencies, and that is all of them. ma ndị amị ma ndị police NSCDC wodum anyị na-awụ vụtara taa akpa ụbụbọ aga maza chekwa arụ maka ihe nke mbụ anyị wepụtara anyị kwesịrị ịfụ na emeziri emezi n'ala arụ awụ security of lives and properties in good collaboration with the security agencies. Mụ na wepụtara ọnwa gara aga anyị vụkwara n'ọnwa nke a anyị ma avụ n'ọnwa ọdọ maka anyị ma avụ na agbara mbọ vụ na ihe ichekwa ndụ ndị mmadụ na ihe o liri n'ala arụ na nke ọhụ dị mkpa karịa. Dịka ịza jụtatụ ajụjụ ihe gbasara ụmụ anyị ị na-ese ihe a na-ese ese na nke a na-aṅụ aṅụ na nke a na-akpọ akpọ drug use n'ala arụ is a menace. Zana meeting anyị na ndị isi ndị security agencies nwere last month. This month ndị na-achịkwata obodo enyela anyị onye isi NDLEA that have now been posted into our local government. Ọrụ dị ụzọ abụọ. Nke mbụ bụ ịvụ na enwere program ebe a na-ekwuru ụmụ anyị okwu ịkọwara ihe iyuzu ihe na nwa jide njọ. Nke ọdọ bụ ma ndị na-ere ere ma ndị na-ezukọ ebe a na-aṅụ ihe ndị a iji gwawo na ihe a megidere iwu ali. Onye aka gọọmenti kpara onye ahụ aga nga. Ile anya na ihe ọdọ enwere ikwutetụrụ okwu bụ cultism. Ụbụla ihe anyị na ndị security agencies kpara ndị aga maza belatatu ihe cultism n'ala arụ. Ndị isi security agency anyị na okwu kwekọtara na anyị ma ekwuru ụmụ anyị okwu mere anyị na ndị youth ji meet ekwata ndị na anyị kwuru okwu. Anyị na okwekọ na ihe iso otu ọjọọ na ịga ije ọjọọ na nke ọhụ ma akwụsị n'ala arụ. Aga n'ogbu a anyị kwuru okwu na ga kwuru ndị ụmụ youth ibewo na ndị eze na ndị ochie nọ n'ala arụ. Anyị ekwekọtala na onye ọbụla aka kpara ọ ga-alala. So were ugbu a nye onwewo ndụmọdụ wepụ aka na ụmụ ihe ọjọọ ndị a niile anyị na-avụgasị na ala arụ. Wee kweta na na aga ime ihe kwuru youth summit. During that their youth summit, ihe ndị a niile ewepụtara na ma ekwuru onwe okwu. Onwe ndị anyị ma eweta ma bịa kwuru okwu ndị mara ihe gbasara ihe ndị ọhụ dum abịa kwuru okwu. Childhood pregnancies, cultism, drug use, and other youth crimes. During that youth summit, were hand wega. Nke ahụ na ibolu ibe nke ọdọ bụ aga maza ka ndị youth na-eme ihe ziri ezi. Anyị kwekọtara Eze Aro Cup a na agba mbụ na ama ebido ya ọdọ. Ụmụ youth dị very happy na o mebido gbawa cup ọhụ. Ọ bụghị naanị football, other sporting activities that engages them. I may website those programs iji vụ na ụmụ youth anyị they engage positively, and we discussed extensively many initiatives and programs that ụmụ youth anyị ma they engaged in. Equity through diaspora investment. Foundation diaspora investment is security na aliaro. Because our nande made feeling na would be safe. We feeling an investment would be protected. Oma tono we be liwe akapuru na aliaro. I'm around say na I'm a mambo basi mbike na here security and the government arokatoro basi ke avuna Umuaro ọbụla lọtara ala Aro obi eruo ya ala. Anyị ji opụta na-ekwuru Umuaro dum nọ na diaspora na ihe a wụ a new dawn for Aro. And now more than ever before, this is the time for Umuaro to come back and invest in Aro. And I'm Paranka, who na I and the PGs of Ogodum non Aro na game meeting Easter. And during that Easter, I na Umuaro nde Bomadi. I na kwa game meeting. One of the main agendas I na get back. When Umuaro an industrialist na libeke or ebe ọbụla, Umuaro nwe akaru akuru ụlọ is something we have to implement. All the factory n'ebe dị iche anyị chọrọ ka ebe arụ ya na ala Aro. Ihe ndị ahụ ihe ndị anyị kpara n'ụbụbọ tandina na anyị na-aga ime. Ọ dị ka rụtụgbala ihe ikwuru aka arịtaghị bụ nwere nke ikwuru ma emetụbeghị aka kama onwe nke m rịzọrọ biko rịtara m anyị eti ya n'okwu. Ndewonu.
Ndewo.
Ndewo Eze Aro. Ndewo. Ndewo Eze Aro.
Okay, thank you. Eze Aro okwu gị dị mma. Ka anyị ga Lagos ọ dịgo ready, Mazi Pat Asonye.
Okay, I can take it from here.
Okay, so can you know from Mazi Pat Asonye in Lagos?
Man.
Mama.
Because I'm taking this on behalf of Mazi Pat Asonye, who is in this post. On were two questions for His Majesty. The first one, also Umuaro na Ajo, what type of Eze Aro will you be? Is it Eze Nwankwo, the king that owns the community? In other words, a king that looks after his people? Or Eze Nwankwo or her, a king that the community's baby, who would rely on his subjects for sustenance? That's question number one. Question number two, how will you leverage the advantage of having Dr. Alex Chiomoti as governor of Abia State to bring development, both human and infrastructure, to Aro? Ndewo.
Ndewo. Nice question.
Okay.
Moderator,
no, Eze Gawanihu. I think that during our pre-meeting, pre-preparation, I anticipated Makamunga Jego Zukondaro, Jekwenke, USA, and all that. And Anyincha proud on Daru, Manane Wabagara. So I was anticipating a lot of Obagara, and this meeting is going very smoothly. So as I Gani.
Ajụjụ a jụrụ dị mma. Nke mbụ, ndị aga m Eze Aro m na-aga egwu. Ọ wụrụ na onye ọbụla mma nna Mazi Kanu Oji mgbe ọ chịrị Aro, ma na onwe ihe Mazi ọhụ na-ekwu mgbe dum okwu a na anaghị achị Aro achị, a na-eso Aro eso. Okwu ahụ pụtara ihe dị iche iche nye ndị dị iche iche. Kama okwu ahụ pụtara na ọbịa na ọchịchị n'ala Aro, Eze Aro ekwesịghị ịwụ nna m ọha, o kwesịghị ịwụ onye na-evide ndị Aro, kama o kwesịrị ịwụ onye na-enyere Aro aka. O kwesịrị ịwụ onye na-akwado ndị Aro. A na-aga Mazi ọhụ za achị Aro. It's actually a leadership model that I personally have benefited from in my career. That if you lead a people, you have to think about how to add value to the people and how to serve the people. And Zana Ageza na chinde mmadụ bụ agade mmadụ ma zaa na eme ihe rute n'ebe ị nọ. So ajụjụ ahụ ị jụrụ bụ ajụjụ mmeji okwu Mazi ọhụ zaa. Na ọ bụrụ na o nwee ndị nọ na ọgbakọ anyị n'abalị a mara onye mbụ bụ mama na ihe awa gamza na-achịkọta ihe dum Chineke tiri m n'aka ịchịkọta. Nke abụọ ị jụrụ m na ha rịọ ọ dị ka m rizọla nke abụọ ị jụrụ nna m.
How would you leverage the presence of government?
All right. Governor. So
The governor.
Thank you. Governor, thank you. Ọ dị m ka Chineke vụrụ arụ n'anya karịgba ndị dum na anyị nwe nwa anyị vụrụ arụ n'anya ukwu ewu gọvanọ Abia State. Ndị mara Mazi Alex Oti ma agọza gba mbọ ịfụ na civic center ọhụ na-arụ gbara ya akwụrụ. Ndị bịara arụ dị na Disemba 2023 mana Mazi ọhụ kwere nkwa na a na-aga ịrụ ụzọ Okobo. I can tell you in good authority the work has commenced. Mazi ọhụ kwere nkwa na ma ụzọ nke nọ n'aka ndị federal government na weme ihe wụmavụ iji vụ na arụ ọhụfịa federal road. Iberibe nke iji connect ya movie na ụzọ nkana o kwekwara nkwa nọ n'ime arụ imezi ime okporo ụzọ nọ n'ime arụ. Ndị nọ n'arụ ugbu a mekwuru gị na warụọla ntụtụ ụzọ n'ime arụ iji mezie. Nke ahụ nke emelere eme. Mekwu na ebe m onwe nọ mụ na Mazi ọhụ na anyị ma avụ na olu na okwu na ihe Umuaro chọrọ n'aka gọọmenti Abia State. Anyị ma avụ na o ruru Mazi ọhụ ntị anọ mere ya. Nke mbụ dịka m kwuru ntị tụrụ ọnụ security. Onwe ndị nọ n'arụ ugbu a wemekwuru gị the amount of security deployment that Abia State government has enabled iji vụ na echekwara ndụ ndị mmadụ na ihe owuwu n'ala arụ. Mgbe m batara arụ na izu na gara aga garịgba avụ ihe wo mewelere already. O nyere m obi ụtọ ebe dị ukwuu. So I have no doubt in my mind that with peace, unity in Aro, na anyị na ndị na-achịkọta obodo, not just Abia State government but federal government, anyị eweta ntụtụ ihe mmepe obodo wee lọtara ala Aro. Ndewo.
Thank you.
Dr. Digo, as I want to go check for my director.
No, all two questions.
No, but I'll get a plan he didn't take.
Yeah, how do you sustain yourself? Okay,
how do you sustain himself?
You always depend on the people. I think that was the question you missed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think nke ahụ ajụjụ Isaiah atụghị n'ọnụ. Mụ onwe m na ezinụlọ m anyị na-elekọta onwe anyị ọnụ zanike na amara Chineke. Ndị arụ onye m ọrụ si m rụọ mụ na o ma hazie onwe anyị bụ na m na-arụrụ ụwa ọrụ wa na-eme ihe o kwesịrị ime na ọrụ ọhụ m na-arụrụ ụwa aga ihe kwesịrị ịdị. So ile ya anya ga-avụ na ọzịza ya the Ago kwesịrị ịdị. So we will not be dependent on Aro for our individual and personal survival, but Aro owes me a responsibility for being their king, for the job that they have given to me. They have to live up to their responsibility. Mazi,
Eze Aro, thank you very much. I think Nezaria Nkoma Obu Opine Fichimi. And I noticed that somebody was raising their hand, or this is on my screen. Bikonya, raise your hand. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay, I guess okay, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Eze Aro, I have a question for Eze Aro. Eze Aro, Your Majesty. Igawu na ni Eze Arochukwu Abia State, Kigawu Eze of all the arrows, not all over the places in the whole Nigeria and beyond. Nda game aza bukata aru niile, because echerem na Eze Aro awu na ni Eze Arochukwu in Abia State. Of course, Eze of every Aro community, not at the whole world and beyond. Nda game aza bukata aru niile bo niile no. Anile nwe sense of belonging. Then, because out of them now, many of the Aro communities, no outside Arochukwu Kingdom, all of them they depend on Eze Aro as their king. That game as Apokota Hanile. Then when you can coordinate here, all because all a very big. I'm not putting a big position. Mother Eze Aro, who none Eze Aro to work with the whole Eze Aro. They coordinated both Eze and the other. Each of the Abia Lezianya. Many of the Aro communities. Eze. Many of them, all few of them, Arochukwu, ndị Aro diaspora one autonomous community. Ego of one, werugi asa. Ihe gosi na they actually depend na onye ọbụla wee Eze Arochukwu is supposed to be their own king, no matter wherever they are. Onye mere wee ji enweghị many kings. So ndị aga ime aza bukata Aro niile, mee ka awo niile nwee sense of belonging na their ancient truth. Thank you.
Moderator, ka anyị na-aga n'ihu. Ajụjụ anyị jụrụ dị m ụtọ ukwuu. Ịza ya wụ iji akụkọ ntakịrị akụkọ zaa ya. Iwuru Eze Aro, ma ị chọrọ ya o, ma ị chọghị ya. Ụmụ arụrụ nọ na diaspora ebe ọbụla wo nọ, ụmụ achọrọ gị bịa. Ndị izu ọgụ, izuwo nụrụ na enyere m staff of office and certificate of recognition. We were one of the first people gbara m letter. Iji sị m congratulations. M na-anata letter wo congratulations. Wo gbanaga ọdọ. Kwuru m na wo nwere nsogbu na izu ọgụ. Na mbịa bịa nyere wo aka na nsogbu o nwere na izu ọgụ. Aka na-ekwu nke ọhụ, wo gbara m invitation na nwa o Prọfesọ Alaezi Okoro na a na-eli ya Friday nke a gara aga na Eze Aro must be there. So, we had to send a delegation because I was otherwise engaged to Izuogo. Duru Eparo, Duru Mandiko, Mandinyo. We had about 6 buses or 6 vehicles. Zaro ga that burial. And immediately in Daluru, my friends non Izuogo, Bido, na send them message. Nandaro abela dawo ipiti na Izuogo na burial emere. Him ji were akụkọ a ịzaga ajụjụ wo na iwuru Eze Aro. At the last count, we have about 300 identified Aro diaspora community. And it's going to be a big part of our responsibility to check out those diaspora community. These are the ones that we've identified. and more are showing up, by the day. So it's not going to be a small assignment. I'm aware liaison officers who will help to manage the relationship with all the diaspora community. Ijivu na ihe gbasara na Eze Aro na achịkwata ya achịkwata go kwesịrị ịdị.
Now let's go to Mazi Onyemobi, Columbus, Ohio.
Ndewo, Your Royal Majesty. Nwa-Mazi Onyemobi Anyiwo. I have two questions for you. The first question is, how do you intend to engage the Umuaro diaspora, particularly those of us born outside of Nigeria, in contributing our skills and expertise for the development of Arochukwu Kingdom? Some of us can offer training, others can provide consulting, or even things like finding grants and investments.
Ndewo, ka m jụọ, m nwere Igbo zaa ajụjụ a, ị ma aghọta?
His Majesty, biko were bekee.
Ka m were bekee maka na.
Were bekee zaa ya o.
So thank you for your question. The question is, how are we going to mobilize Aro diaspora, particularly the ones that are born overseas, to bring their skill? So we will have from the palace liaison, I'm just using that word liaison, persons for most of the diaspora communities. So we will have someone who will be interfacing with the palace for people in the US, or maybe in several cities in the US, different people. Someone who will be interfacing between the palace and people in the UK and in different places. And the reason why we think that will work best, exactly what you say, is when we have programs that is originating from Aro, for which we need to tap into your skills and your experience. Someone have to make that translation, and someone have to help us to reach you and to explain how you can contribute. As I speak, we are developing positions or jobs, and we are looking to fill positions with people who will work pro bono, of course, for those liaison positions. So if from this call tonight, and from what I hear, just the sound of your voice, you look like one of those liaison persons that we are looking for, please, as soon as we drop out of the Zoom, kindly get across to me, because we really need committed Aro sons and daughters in diaspora who is going to participate. But I can tell you already that our sons and daughters in the city of Houston, they've reached out to me. They organized themselves. They put together a program which they call Echoes of Culture. And they are looking to promote Aro culture in the city of Houston. And in the proposal that I have seen from them, they intend that when I visit Houston for the we will have opportunity to visit the mayor of Houston and speak to the mayor of Houston about our custom, our culture, and our tradition. Give him a piece of Umuaro to connect that city with our city, considering that we have so many Aro sons and daughters who are making very solid contributions to the city of Houston. I'm just using that as an example, yeah, of what is possible. And my expectation is that, with what the folks in Houston are doing, people in other cities will do the same once we have these liaison persons who will put together what they believe will be the opportunity to connect the Aro throne and kingdom with the cities where they live. And what I say to people is that it's important when they know that you come from a kingdom, you earn yourself some measure of respect where you are. They know that if they treat you badly, somebody's going to pick up a phone and call them and say, why is that happening? So I think that's why it's important that, you know, we establish this liaison and this relationship, but it will be driven primarily by yourselves who are in those cities. As you can understand, we will be busy with Aro, and you will have to help us to manage all those networks and relationships with other cities. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much. The second question is, how can we improve Arochukwu's online presence? And by that, right now, if you typed in Arochukwu, you may get a small smidgen of our history. Most of the time, it's not even correct. And then a lot of people talking about us, but very little Arochukwu in our own words. Secondly, part two of the question is also better document Arochukwu history, culture, and customs. You know, this document, you know, video-wise and written down-wise and whatnot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really think that many of you in this call, it looks like you were in our meeting today in Aro. Because one of the things we discussed was that we're going to have an Eze Aro library. And the purpose of that library is to collect, curate, and create our historical documentation and use multiple media channels to promote Arochukwu culture, books, live theater, movies, social media,
Thank you very much.
multiple media channels to promote our culture. If you live in Nigeria, and I think those who live in Nigeria, they know that we have sustained very strong campaign to promote our culture. If you go to YouTube and just type Aro, you will see the volume of materials that we have put out, documentary about Aro and so many things that we have done within a very short period of time. And we're going to 10x it, very quickly. And you're going to see all those efforts, begin to show up. Essentially, if you are on this call and you are an Aro person who is in media, in movies, in the arts world, we will really encourage you to reach out, because we like to tell our stories by ourselves. And what we said to the elders who were at the meeting today is that we are going to organize so that they have our young people who are, tech savvy, will come and record them, tell the authentic Aro history, and they transcribe it to from voice to words, organize it into volumes and things that we can use to keep our records and our history going forward. That was discussed today and agreed. So essentially what I'm saying to you is that the work has begun, and we'll love to welcome more people to be a part of this great effort. But thanks for raising it. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, His Majesty. On the note about Mazi Onyemobi, I can assure you that I only met him yesterday. And then based on the question he asked today, you already have one of our younger people who is very enthusiastic. It's a matter of engaging him the proper way. And just before I go to the last person, I want to acknowledge Chinyere Eke-Okoro. I see your hand up. Don't worry about it. Let's finish with the main part, and you'll be the first person that will ask your question next. So for now, Nwa-Mazi Onyemobi from Dublin, United Kingdom. Biko, are you on the line? Hello? Nwa-Mazi Onyemobi from Dublin, are you on the line?
No, it's like he was having issues. He tried joining. I don't know if he did eventually.
Okay, somebody who is in touch with him, if you can call him on the phone and do like Dr. Azubike Okoro did, if you get his question later on, but in the meantime, we'll continue. So, Adamazi Chinyere Eke-Okoro, are you still on?
Yes.
Well, go ahead, because.
But Dimunachi Jadu, Dimnaju.
So it's your way better. And guess what, Chinyere? When I saw your hand up, I made it a priority. Can you know I'm not digging a mewayo. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because when the men have quality, coordination in another man. As I, Mama, Ekelegen Kuku, Ahambo, Isaac, Eke-Okoro, from Atani, and na New Jersey, one of my wife. Onyema Onyemobi, former commissioner for education. So him chọrọ ịjụ bụ ihe gbasara College of Education. Eze, nza mgbe Chineke mere anyị nweta College of Education na Arochukwu. Ihe anaghị aga anyị lewere anya ya. Amamihe your dad, His Royal Majesty Vincent Okoro, mere anyị ma ga-eji tinye College of Education na Aro. Mgbe bidoro ya, ịhụrụ aga ndị ngwa ji gbaa mgba ukwuu ịnapụ ya anyị. Chineke mee ebere, Eze bịara n'ụlọ nọmba 4 Okpara Avenue. Mụ na ya na-abụsoro gbaa mgba make sure na anapụrụ gị anyị University College of Education. So College of Education kwesịrị by now ịghọ university kacha university niile n'ala Igbo. Ihe a na-egbute m ruo taa n'ihi na ama mgbara ịhụ that university that education nọ hụ n'Aro. So ọ na-atọ m ụtọkwanụ na Chineke mere abịa nweta onye nwa nke ya bịara bụrụ eze anyị n'Aro taa, dị educated, mara ihe education bụ, marakwana uru ọ ga-abara ala Igbo ndị Aro. So m na-asị nwanne m nwoke eze anyị, ndị a plan ị na-emeke sure na mgba niile anyị gbara na eze gbara, imeke sure because o ji aka ya bịakwute m n'Ụmụahịa ya gbaa mgba mee ka university ahụ dịrị ka a ghara ịnapụ ya anyị. Ebe ahụ ka obi m dị, m na-achọ a ga-ebiara ugbu a ndị anyị ị ga-eme ime ka eme university ahụ College of Education eme ya elevate ka ọ bụrụ ihe o kwesịrị ịbụ. Then nke ọzọ m chọrọ ịjụ bụ ndị ahịa a ga-emekwanụ maka ndị herdsmen a na-abịa na-edistọbụ ndị Aro. So m chọrọ ka ma ga-akpa mgbe ka achọrọ na ihe dị aga adịghị n'ihi na oke ka m kwụsị ka a ghara iwe ịtụfusi mgbe gị niile. Nke a ụjọ abụọ m jụrụ gị. M chọrọ ka ị zaa ma ọ tinye ọnụ na ya. Ha abụọ. Ndewo.
Mazi ndewo. Avrom na Eddie very passionate about Aseta. Tandina, the Aseta lecturers that are Biavom na Palace and we wetara letter wo delere already ekwesịrị inye onye isi obodo wo Biavom ikwuru m ka m titụrụ ọnụ ikwuru gọọmenti gbasara ihe gbasara Aseta. Agụgbabeghị m maka ihe o dere dị ntụtụ nke o na-enye gọvanọ na nke o chọrọ ka etiriwe ọnụ. Agụgbabeghị m ihe dum o depụtara maka ọ just stand na I just finish a meeting ahụ batawa na Zoom. Nka ma enwe interaction with them. O dotu anya na ihe o chọrọ. nke ikwuru maka ime asset or grade to university. I think it's a laudable vision. Kama na ihe ọbụla a na-eme kwesịrị ịtọ anya n'ala bụ na emere ya mezie ya emezi. Anyị ndị nọ na Nigeria nwere privilege ịga some universities in Nigeria. The concern at the proliferation of universities without adequate funding and without providing adequate facilities to deliver good quality education. So, over no hand choro de kandaro. I'm assign na mirivu na emeziri emezi. Nkoma over na enweta anyama na akwariri basara na ganivu. If Asata is going to become a university, it must be well funded. The facilities must be top notch. Instructions, all the elements have to be there in order for it to be worth our effort and worth our while. Otherwise, it will be a university by name, and in substance, it will still be the same Asata, and that's not what we want.
That's good.
However, I do believe that Arochukwu, as the citadel of Igbo custom, culture, and tradition, is deserving of a world-class university.
That's right.
And either by the state government or by the federal government or by some private institutions or individual, it's a cause that we must pursue. And that's really what I believe that we have to make happen. How we're going to make it happen, we still have to work, work on it. And if it is upgrade of Aseta that is the answer, we will find out in due course. But all I'm saying is that when and if and rather when we do it, it has to be done right.
That's right.
Nkodi kwutere okwu ya bụ ndị herdsmen na-enye anyị nsogbu. O so na ihe pụtara na ezumezu anyị nwere tandị na meetings we had today.
Very good.
Aro nwere boundary with communities, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, ma ndị ọdọ na Abia State, ndị Ututu, ndị Ihe, and all these boundaries are generating a lot of problems. And the consequence of boundary disputes, but then the headsmen then have a free reign, terrorizing both the Aro community and their neighbor community as it is. When you are not, in good terms with your neighbor, then of course a third party comes in and have his way. Whereas against that chekwa onwa anyị na zana mgbochi erutu ugbu a bụ anyị na ndị anyị na ụgbatara obi anyị na-agba ndụ aga arụzọ emeje ha anyị agba ndụ kwuo ebe ọkara anyị na wo dị anyị ndị amara wo ndị amara anyị ndị chekwa ruo n'ebe ọkara ahụ wo ndị chekwara ruo n'ebe ọkara ahụ then ọ dịkwa gị Opoto, man, the headsman or any other person meji abata. So here Kurutan now when I set up a committee immediately.
Very good.
Ma etianya tinyoku na ihe basara boundary and aina obatara obi. When they jiba my records and all those things ekwesiri by the oku. And I said I'm a agijea na multiple levels. Traditionally, and with the help of government, both interstate and up to federal government boundary resolution institutions. We're going to explore that. Plus, IMT technology, ijivo na mbawala iji hazie ihe okwu boundary na ahaziri on a more permanent basis. So, nkavo iji zato ajụjụ juru maka ndị herdsmen. Amamma nzabala ajụjụ ndo.
Thank you very much. The Lord will sustain you.
Okay, Biko, thank you very much, His Majesty. Just a reminder, if we are going strictly by time, we have about 40 minutes left. I'm also aware of all the people who raised their hands. I think the first person to raise his hand waiting was Vincent Okoro. But the people in line for questions are Kingsley, Kanu, Vincent Okoro, Phillips, Enyinnaya, Chinedu, and Juliet, Oboyalunwa Okoro. Mana, because no Momoke Kugoku too much, I think Juliet came later, but we'll honor her as a woman to ask the next question. And I know that now the 4 men there before her gentlemen, so they wouldn't mind. Okay, let's go ahead, Juliet. Juliet, you're muted. Can we go ahead? Time is of essence.
Okay, Ndewo, His Royal Majesty. My name is Juliet Ogbenyealunwa Okoro from Atani. My question is, how do you intend to improve on transportation in Aro? Because we really don't have a good transportation in Aro. We just have, everybody coming in to do what they know how to do best. At least now that we have a new Eze Aro in place, we need to improve on our transportation. That's my question. Day one.
This is really an interesting one. I never thought about it. So I think for this one, Juliet, my response to you is that I will make a note of it because I don't like to give unprepared response, because I need to think about it and make sure that we have actionable plan to execute whatever I say. So mmedetu ka edetu anyị agati ya anya. Amam na ndị na-agba ma keke ma ọkada na ime Aro afụtụla mbụ anyị, and we had some interaction. Kama transportation as a question was something anyị atụlibe uche ukwu. I think that will include Eze Aro na-achọ ịpụ mba, Eze Aro na-achọ ịga Aba, Eze Aro na-aga Ụmụahịa. Parks, where are their parks? How do they get? I hope you're not expecting Uber in Aro or something like that, but we will we will look at that question, and hopefully at our next interaction have a response.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Thank you. Thank you, His Majesty. Just a note for you, His Majesty. On a note to Nande chat, and I think it's somebody in diaspora, say that her neighbors are gathered to see Eze Aro. So now we pass on that and then again, the next person for question is Chinedu. Chinedu, I'm sorry you've been waiting because your turn.
Mazi, good evening. Eze Ndewo.
Ndewo.
Okay, Avamza Chinedu Oji. Onyema. I'm speaking from Aro currently. My concern and what I really want to talk about is, by God's grace, I've been privileged to be in Aro since 2021. My job brought me back to Aro. And I observed something that is paining me seriously as a person, and that is health in Aro. They say health is wealth. I've observed that, frankly speaking, most of the deaths that occur in Aro are things that if we had a good hospital in Aro, we can actually avoid such deaths. People are dying in Aro seriously because there is no good hospital. I don't know, somehow it's kind of a government thing, but on the other hand, I still believe there's something that can be done. In fact, I must be frank to you. There is even this rumor in Aro that one of the major private hospitals, so-called in Aro, that is operating in Aro, there's a question mark on the doctor itself. The hospital is cited in Aro, if I'm not mistaken. There's a question mark. People are asking questions about his what's it called, certification as a medical doctor. Sorry, I'm going this far, but I must be frank to you. There is no health care system in Aro. People are based on going to chemists, self-medication. You see somebody coming into and stuff like that, and people are dying. So if anything happens to anybody that is resident in Aro, and you don't have any money to rush that person to either Ikotekbene or Umuahia or whatever as fast as possible, believe you me, it's only by God's grace, if not, you will lose that soul.
Okay,
so
Chinedu.
I don't know
Chinedu, thank
how
you.
we're going to please.
Anyway, Chinedu, I think your question is clear, and I'm sure Eze Aro know where you're going, because just in the interest of time, let's keep it to questions and not commentary. And because for the rest of the people who raised their hands, and Chinedu, don't get me wrong, your question is extremely pertinent. However, Biko and the rest of the people, ask your question, but don't indict somebody's character based on rumors. That's not what we're here to address. Okay, Biko.
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
His Majesty, Biko.
So Chinedu, ekele gị ebe ọ dị ukwuu na ajụjụ jụrụ maka healthcare. Ihe ahụ o so na ihe ndị anyị kpatụlere na izu gara aga maka okwu healthcare na Aro. O nwere ndị nke gọọmenti kwesịrị imere anyị. Anyị na-awụ ma ezute ka anyị tinye ọnụ na nke ọhụ bụ na ihe o kwesịrị ime na wo mere ya. Mgbe anyị kpara ụbụbọ a, m nụrụ na ma ndị dọkịta ma ndị nọọsis eposturu anyị na wo bịa wee nweghị accommodation wo laa. Ọ bụrụ na wo lara bụ gara a repost otu ibe ọdọ anyị amaghị. So ihe ndị a wụ ụbụlọ ihe ndị na-emebi n'ahụ anyị maka leadership gap. So ebe ọ bụ na information ahụ erutela anyị aka, anyị na-eme ndị gọọmenti engage very serious iji vụ na ma nurses ma doctors eposturu anyị na anyị mere ka wo nwee ebe wo ma anọ ka wo nwee ike ịnọ na rụrụ ọrụ gọọmenti si wo bịa rụọ. Nke kwutetụrụ maka private clinics and all of that. Amam nenwa Aro USA, hospital and clinic. We have to spend some time to investigate what is going on. Our nahi raise will concern similar to what we have heard in the meetings. I'm meti Uchu Ejivo na Ndenonaro medical facility, medical care, and that we have caregivers who are available by way of doctors and nurses, Manenyaka, all these hospitals, non-Aro. But I share your concern. I'm in Aro myself right now, and nobody wants to be in a place where if you have a medical emergency, you're not able to reach at least a doctor who can stabilize the person, even for Medivac, as the case may be. So that's something that we're addressing. I think I see in the chat there's still a question about tourism. I think let me just say quickly that that's receiving our attention. There are tourism sites that we have in Aro, the 72 steps, the waterfall, and a few tourism sites for which we're having conversation that those sites needs to be properly promoted, branded, and turn to the greater good and benefit of Aro community and become part of our brand promotion as a kingdom, that when people come, they should be able to visit those sites. So there's a lot of work that we have discussed. Some of them have kicked off, some are yet to kick off. That in due course, I am an Umuaro Aga Iyendohu Zanaga.
Okay, the next person will be Kingsley, but Kingsley Kanu, because before I get to you, I want to notice His Majesty on his own saw some comments on chat that he has addressed. So I wonder your question relates to what's already been addressed. If you could just let it go or think of another question in the interest of time. Kingsley, Kanu, Biko, go ahead.
There one near Arumamano, Eze Aro, Mazi. Ajụjụ all the relation to what Mazi Onyemobi kwulere. Mana my own the maka or henchọ maka digitalizing the processes in Arochukwu. Like onwe ihe ndị a na-achọ ime asị na mmadụ na mmadụ na-enwe okwu asị na onye ọhụrụ ma nọberịrị nso ọ inwe onye ma nọchite anya gị tupu ekwuo ihe ị nwere mana agụọ dị ugbu a ụwa emega evolve to different levels like this na na-eme ugbo remote ka anyị na-eme ya onye ọbụla na-akọwa gọsa dị ya n'oge. So is it something in your plan that there will be a way that people can remotely represent themselves when there are issues or when there are, certain things that they have to discuss or sort out between families, friends, and others? They will.
Dịka isi kwuo, society dum mana aga n'ihu kama ọwụ ihe dum ka ma baide n'ike o nwere ihe ndị anyị meji nta na-ahazi. I believe in digital enablement, and it's my practice. I use that a lot. But I also believe that onwe ihe ndị wụ our custom, culture, tradition, and kwesịrị ị preserve. I'm a lay hand on hanya. We've discussed it. Things that have lesser consequence and impact. Meetings like this, having some kind of meeting with Zoom and all of that, we should. Come on, Roku, Nadima in I'm not aware that there are many jurisdictions that accept remote representation for judicial matters, because it's very tricky. So, ajụjụ question I made Amara, what can we digitally enable over time, and what do we have to apply care and follow orthodoxy in terms of how digital representation is being handled, not just in our local community, but globally, because there are global norms and standards that needs to be followed. Particularly in Hebasari, we have discussed extensively Naima launching Kuru Arochukwu traditional judicial reform. And that Arochukwu traditional reform will mean that agaze hazi ihe na aliaro na meme according to transparent, and the matter how to engage with the process and what to expect at every stage. And nekwesiri ikpere za na ime ezi pụọ zanogo gawa na kindred before erute palace. Ihe ndị ọhụrụ dum ekwesịrị idetu by edetu ka ndị mmadụ mara how to engage with our traditional judicial process. But I do agree with you, reforms are required and we will reform, but we will reform respecting and tradition.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, next is Vincent Okoro. Vincent Okoro, I see your hand is up. Vincent Okoro, you are muted. Okay, can you go to Philip Enyinnaya?
Okay, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me? Vincent,
okay,
can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's a good evening. There was a hello? There was
go ahead.
Okay, here Joe, I'm Vincent Okoro, I'm on Ububo village. I become a Spain. ihe nchọrọ ịjụ like last 2 years, everyone a serious issue within the Banja. And now, when any immediate action, when the key take, because until to do well now, money hand on over which is in a sustain Hana village. I can wish you. I don't have a new go help Sarabandre committee from last questions, but is there anyhow, when the keys will reach, make a good sure now. That is our mothers in the village, Haga Ubi, Haga to save. Because this issue with the Banja people cause Umuaro, Nwa village, Ububo. So now, John, with any immediate thing with the Kimen, make sure now, I resolve for that thing, can man how we can agree. Yeah, number one. Number two, when anything I get, with Aro, called the urbanization, like my attracting him with the factory or something with your connection with the government, we keep youth engaged, like job opportunity, so that I gonna migrate every time from village to town seeking for job. Thank you. That's my 2 questions. Thank you.
Ndewo. Ajụghị nke mbụ bụ onwe ha nwere ike ime ugbu a ka ndị nne anyị ha nwee ike ịbanye ubi igbu akwụ. Ọzịza ya bụ mgbe dum o nwere ihe mmadụ nwere ike ime. Dịka m kwuru, anyị constitutive committee a ọwụ naanị okwu boundary, ọkwa ebe anyị nwere okwu nọ n'ogbugbu a ka o nwee ike ititu ya ọnụ. Ihe nke izizi anyị bidoro ime wụ na ndị a niile bụ ndị agbata obi anyị na-aga ịvụwo, amaeziga ndị mmadụ ịga vụọ, maka na mgbe ọbụla ihe nọ n'ala, o nwere aga maza eti ọnụ, nwere aga maza eti ya okwu. So nke ndị ugbo, ọ bụghị naanị ugbo, anyị kpara ndị na ma ugbo ma ama ọba, that whole line wouldn't experience the same thing. So I'm on Gare Ije Nona with the hope and expectation that this planting season, our people will be able to go back to the farm. I joking about factories. We have spoken about that we subscribe to the Akurulo concept. No Umuaro rallies. Bara factories in Ibodo. I'm encourage Kawo. They are in those factories na Aliaro. So that is a program that by this Easter, starting by this Easter, we will have several engagements with different Aro sons and daughters to promote that whole idea. And in this discussion, I think mention has been made about the non-diaspora. Imeko encouraged to invest in building factories in Aro, like you said, to engage our young people. These things will take time to mature, but we need to start. We need to start talking about it. We need to start looking at our land tenure system. We need to identify and allocate industrial clusters, because it doesn't make sense that we're building factories all over the place. Factories do by nature carry pollutants. So you have to designate industrial areas, industrial clusters where factories can be built together and you can manage their waste and effluent and things, and keep that separate from where you are promoting agriculture, keep that separate from where you are promoting people's residences and residential housing. So that's work we have already started discussing. Thanks for your question.
Okay, because I see 4 hands up. In the interest of time, can we limit our questions to one most important question, HRAJO, because we are running out of time? Philip Enyinnaya.
All right, thank you very much, sir. His Royal Majesty, may your reign be peaceful and long. Our moderator, thank you, sir. Umar Ribem, this is Philip. I'm joining from Abuja. His Royal Majesty, thank you for this Ububo with Eze Aro. Mine is not a question. Mine is from your antecedent, which you told us. I want to believe you also understand that there is need for us to have a sort of master plan. Mogara School Nag and His Majesty, if you have gone around the two premier schools in Aro, you will know that they are all in their past glory. There is Lesson and Agri. Those are schools that need renovation. And I know there are things government is expected to do, but in other communities, we have seen how government is not able to take all of this, and there is need for community involvement. If you also go to our primary schools, they are all Ekabo, as it were. From my village, Ababu, Ezakma school, I don't know how many that have a roof. December, we're talking on how we can help. So, sir, I was looking at a master plan. Yes, with the burden those from diaspora are having and all of that. If I looked at how many of us are here, about 100 something, and you have told us about how you want people who will assist Aro pro bono, I really give you a thumb to that. We don't have another Jerusalem, as it were. It is Aro, and I want to believe we have the professionals who can put their hands on the plow and help you come up with a master plan. Aro does not have a stadium, for instance, and when we began to talk about the issues of drug and all of that, not only on the cup that is coming, we want to look at basketball, we want to look at handball and all of that. We need a stadium. And these are things we can invest to make sure we engage our younger generation and the young people for them not to get to the vices of their time. We need a master plan. I work in the Federal Ministry of Transportation, master plan for transportation, education, tourism, health,
okay,
the
Philip,
technology
please,
and vocational village,
let's move on.
agriculture process. It's not a question, it's just an advice. He's not going to answer me. I'm just saying what we can do.
I understand, but we have other people that need to talk, and Eze Aro is ready to answer, and we're limited on time. I truly appreciate your question, please, or your comments. Thank you very much. His Majesty.
So I think there's really a beautiful response to your question, Wale, is that we actually do have a master plan. Nzukaro have put together what they call AroDep 2030. I have read it. It is a classic, masterful piece of work. I was pleasantly surprised and pleased at the depth of thinking that has gone into that work. So I think that, we have our work cut out for us because the master plan is there, very comprehensive. Now, what we need to do is to fund it and to implement. That's what is required. And I have already told Nzukaro that we're going to have a big meeting this Easter to speak specifically to that point. How do we fund AroDep 2030, and how do we implement it with discipline, with measurable tracking for success, as we do with typical projects, just to ensure that we deliver the AroDep with this. So I will encourage Omar Nona Kola to read AroDep 2030. Read that document. It is masterfully put together. It's the kind of material you will pay top dollar to get for any organization. And Chineke Goziele Umuaro will we put together that master plan. I fully subscribe to it, fully endorse it, and commit that we should implement it.
Thank you, His Majesty. The next question will come from Mazi Frank Agodi. And Mazi Frank Agodi, because he was one of the first people who this time it has to be abbreviated.
Yes. So, NwaMazi, you kind of took it out of depth when somebody could help. Aro have health, which is led by Dr. Koro Babe. So, because, like you said, Umuaro support all that. And secondly, Aro USA, you mentioned, when a clinic that has everything in it, and a maternity ward is there, not being used. Because I know, I can make a government made that place state or federal clinic or based in here our brother put about health. And also when Mazi the light or very classy modern baby, all those things have to put in use so that other people from other community when they can for the government to make those things that will help reduce which Dr. Koro Babe has been leading here health-wise, because that will help health. If government will take that place as RUS clinic, as a federal clinic or state, bring doctors there, then I want to help to maintain that place. That will help us a lot. That's all I have to say. So, Fred, this is very short and abbreviated.
Okay.
So the short answer to that one day was that yes, it's something we will do. Yeah. We had the conversation today about doctors that have been sent to Aro who have left. So at least the one that is for government clinic, we have to make that work first. And then, of course, advocacy for government to adopt our other health facility to provide doctors, etc. That we will surely do.
Okay, next is Delight Sunday Anicho.
Good evening, Your Royal Majesty. I'm really pleasantly pleased to be on this call. Thank you so very much. I have just two very short comments. Number one is that I've been in Aro for 18 months and I've gone round. I noticed that the land is beginning to show signs of erosion in some very specific areas. You start looking around, you see the foundations of houses coming out. And that's something I think we should begin to think about and take cognizance of. Then secondly, I would like to speak to education of our young ones. In my interaction with the school children in Agri and All Saints Secondary School, I realized that the products that come from the primary schools to the secondary schools is so poor. And I would like to know, Your Majesty, what your plans are in this area. And we brought a program we've been implementing so far, and it's been of help, according to the testimony of the teachers in Agri. But it's really important that we upgrade our primary school education, because these are children that will compete with other children in this 21st century. If their foundation is so poor, it's not going to help them. Thirdly, most of these children in public schools come to school on empty stomach. So the time they should spend in class, they use it running around looking for things, palm kernel, coconut, things to eat. How can we help? Thank you, sir.
The ajụjụ ndị jụrụ dị ezigbo mkpa. Thankfully, mụ na gị votara na December kpatụ obobo a, so nọ m n'obi nza. Kama nke ikwutere maka erosion, that's something we need to look at. I must confess we haven't, other than Ozu Tugu, where erosion is trying to eat up that road that was built for us. We haven't looked at erosion generally as a problem na Alearo. But now that you have mentioned it, we're going to make a note of that and include that in our conversation with government and with the community generally. Ihe putere maka education na primary education, secondary education, the infrastructure. I think somebody's talked about those infrastructure. about the Ububo. I work with many communities as part of my work, and we do have this idea and understanding that once the quality of instruction for the primary school is weak, the person tends to struggle throughout his education. So you see these people who struggle in primary school, they may have multiple PhDs, but when they speak, you notice that something is missing in the foundation. Either the tenses don't construct, despite the fact that they have PhDs and things like that. So it's a very serious disservice as a community to our children if the quality of primary education they receive is weak, because to close that gap is difficult in later years. I'm aware that in some communities where this has been fixed, it's been fixed from the point of view of the quality of teachers. The quality of teachers that are instructing these children. Teacher na kuziri mmadụ English, jiri Igbo Aro na kuziri onye ahụ English, ịma ụdịrị English onye ahụ ma amụta. So I'm ele ihe ndị ọhụ anya, and we have to do that in conjunction with the Ministry of Education, the quality of teachers that we have. We have to look into it. And then there's proliferation of private institutions. And some of these private institutions just do not have the mechanism to maintain quality. They hire whoever they can, collect money from parents, and basically not deliver the education. But it's our responsibility as a community to make sure that we get our children properly educated. And that starts from primary school. In Kikutere about Oboromega School with Ago, that is a more difficult problem to solve. And why it's a more difficult problem to solve is because there is general hunger in the land. There's a general hunger in the land, and that general hunger in the land is affecting, everybody, both the parents of the children. Not that they want to send their children to school hungry, they just do not have the means to send their children to school with food. So as part of our overall look at what could be done in the kingdom, and all these engagements that we say we're going to engage with people, is to encourage the idea, because when COVID, many communities came up with the idea to create intervention. I think we are gradually getting back to that level because of the economic realities in Nigeria today, such that we need to encourage ụmụ anyị na ụmụnne ndị mmadụ nọ na mba dị iche iche ka ọ na-eleri ndị anya nọ n'ala Aro na ihe gbasara ma ọ na-erikwa ndị ma ọ anaghị eri ndị, ma ụmụ ọ na-erikwa ndị ma ọ anaghị eri ndị, ntanwa agawa school. So ihe anyị kwesịrị na ibido lewe anya ugbu a. The hyperinflation in Nigeria is real, and Aro being not as productive as it used to be means that we import most food items, and consequently the cost of food items in Aro is unbelievable. So that's why children are going to school hungry. We need to do something about that, and there is conversation that by the end of the day, the only way to solve this high cost of food in Aro is that Aro needs to become productive again. Yeah, we need to create the enabling environment for our farmers to go to farm and farm without fear of being attacked by herdsmen, increase the volume of food production in Aro, and hopefully drive the cost of food in Aro down somewhat to enable parents give their children food before they go to school. Bit of a long answer to your question, but I think those are the key components.
Okay, we have two more questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam. We have two more questions. The next one will come from Maxwell Okafor. Maxwell, please make it a question and not a long commentary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eze Aro, good evening, sir. I'm Maxwell Okafor, Onyema, a retired director, Central Bank of Nigeria. So, Mazi, ihe kwuru about boundary with adjoining communities and states. Nke m abụghị question so much, just area arịrịọ ka elebakwa anya na issues dị between ndị ogo dị iche iche na arụ. Asonye amụghị mma na amụghị na-enwe big problem with ụmụnne ndị Asaga about land. So mgbe na-eleba anya na boundary adjustment between arụ na ndị mba ọzọ anyị na ụgbara, elebatu anya na nke dịkwa within us. Some of those things na ya the confidence to come back to Aro and feel safe. If not, I don't know mad rocha or outside. You Aro thinking you're safe. And a Bulgaria when actually people are not a daily occurrence now moving now. So because in Kamo Ila Lebayana this in Kelabayana problem between Indiogo non So all my comments on him were equal, Mazi.
I'm putting a Hipuru. Ana mama zani mulo po nezi. Oku ndị nọ n'ime ogo na ogo ezi na ezi. Ndị ahụ dum anyị meti gba ya ọnụ. Ihe anyị kwuru mgbe anyị bidoro ụbụba maka ụmụ yutu anyị na join the cult. Ụmụ yutu anyị na-ese ihe a na-ese na ihe a na-aṅụ na-abanye n'isi. Ọwụ ndị bụ agent ndị iro jikwara ngwaọrụ ị na-ebu egbe na-agagharị n'ala arụ ma ihe ndị dị aga ihe ndị a ekwesịghị ịdị. So anyị ma ele ya anya ka enwe ike ịhazi gbogbo ihe ndị ahụ. But thank you for raising the question. Very well taken. We will take it on board.
Okay. The final question, based on my last number of people for Bradley Oliwa, I see you raised your hand, man. You raised your hand late, but we'll try to accommodate you. But for now, the final question is coming from, I think it's Ambassador Reverend Dr. Annie. You know who I'm saying. Biko, take it away. And after that, Bradley, if we have time, we'll come to you. But when I had those few people left, I also said that to round up that I have one or two questions I wanted to ask Eze Aro. So go ahead, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Good evening. My Royal Highness, good evening. Ndewo. Biko ana m ekele Umuaro niile nọ na this platform. And I thank God for the opportunity for me to ask this question. Long live my Eze, Ndewo. Because my question, amam unanu ihe na-ekwu?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my question, even though one or two people equally, but in a different angle. Nde bekee sị na health is wealth. Anyị ekwuola okwu tourism, anyị ekwuola okwu different infrastructure, how we can, enhance and develop our Okeigbo Kingdom. More as Umuaro, I'm so proud of Umuaro. I know ihe njem ọnụ, and I wouldn't want my Eze to be communalized. Either like in the Igbos, Eze anyhow. It's not what I want for, for our kingdom. But in terms of the health, our clinic, I just want us to look into it. How we can also contribute, because sometimes it's not what the government can do for us, it's what we also can do to enhance, to participate, our health, the functional, and the capacity of the doctors and the midwives. We look into that, properly. Or the way I get to, I now contribute go to support, because I name tourism, name everything. mmadụ daa ahụ ọkụ ma anyị enweghị clinic, a good hospital ebe anyị ga-eji wee buje onye ahụ nye onye ahụ first class treatment, it will not give us a good name. Like in the RSA, their clinic, I know that during COVID we all participated, contribute to to support. Uncle Frank, I got the, they were doing good job, with His Excellency at that time. So we all participated and contribute. So I wrote that, and I'm joining my voice. If we can make that clinic, hire best doctors, any way we can contribute money, I don't mind, to support. Can you make the best nurses, best clinic, best nurses, best doctors, people that take care of the maternity wings and all that. I will be really glad to participate on that angle. So my thing is that,
Reverend,
sorry,
point,
Mazi. Sorry, I will just
yes,
I'll round it off. Sorry, Mazi. So I will be really glad to participate in anything, to support that clinic part of it. And then in education, the disjointed education, most people with dyslexia, people don't know. Even teachers in the their foundation, because people with dyslexia, there is no tools for you to know that special needs, how I got through struggling. Then before is somebody else, only is through struggling. So in recruiting teachers, it is good for us to know only when challenges. So no matter how we can support them in terms of education, this is what I would like to contribute, because people with different challenges in the diaspora where we live, and they make people text dyslexia, autism, and all that. Then
Reverend Okwima, you are repeating yourself now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Biko.
Okay. Biko, that's my question. And they won.
I don't think Reverend's question or comment is for question for answer. I think she's made very valuable contributions. I'm a deda where as I may tikata na hende pastime ganivo. Reverend, thank you so much for your contribution.
And Reverend Biko, I concur here as Ekuru. So it wasn't that I wasn't appreciating your comments. I was just saying that it was very clear and you were repeating yourself. Eze Aro, Biko, thank you so much for the patience and the time to join us today. And Bradley, I still see your hand up. When we finish this, we'll see if Eze has a little more time. Thank you for your participation. But most importantly, I want to thank Ndị Aro Batara here today. If I told you that I expected Nage Obaghara, I'll be lying to you. And I haven't seen a Zoom meeting better professionally handled than this meeting today. So I want to applaud everybody. Moa Wanyo Jari, Aro Jari in Anambra State. And on one hand, Tomoto, like the fact, now we're the roots, Arochukwu. But I'll always tell people, say, Akpawoku na Nigeria, Mazagodi in Kedin Anambra before Mwagawaro. But I have a lot of pride in my Aroness. With that said, Eze, when he could hear that really touched me, but I really think now something Ndaro need to put heads together. Is it that na Arochukwu the citadel of Igbo culture? There is no question about that. That's a fact. And the reality na na-ekwu ihe gbasara ana Igbo on a national basis. And I've been raising this privately. Many people got our history, like Moa, don't understand where Aro stands in the history of Ndibo. Because Nanda Aro, like most of Ndabia, are highly educated but very reserved. And on we have a citadel of culture. And he be the two maka na na-ekwu ihe gbasara ndị Igbo and leadership ndị Igbo, ezeship and obiship, ihe ndị mmadụ na-anụ Obi of Onitsha. And for a long time, I've been telling people, I don't understand why Obi of Onitsha is so high and I akpọta Eze Aro. And Eze Aro should be up there. But I think to be up there, anyone need to do all these cultural things we are doing in a way that it's everywhere, flooding the internet with it, flooding everything, but also plus in Haineme. Because Ejuandaro, Eke-Okoro si Aro, Mbadiwe si Aro, Bono Jike si Aro. I cannot keep counting. I could count 1,000. Mana, we have to project ourselves that way. Then from an Ojari standpoint, okay, Ndick Borom can moderate and here Borom and see how that I'm going to be neutral. But that one thing on Chore Guandaro, with that I Ojari, my hometown, go through the last 15, 20 years. I don't wish it on our route, which is Arochukwu. So I want you to this thing, this confusion, taking it lightly. We shouldn't take it lightly, and we should try everything not to antagonize anybody. Eze Ojari, it took 15 years. Last year, came with a staff of office for a new Eze, and they divide. Arochukwu is all we have as our route. Let's do what it takes to preserve it. Ogugomnono.
Anyị kwesịrị ịkụrụ moderator anyị aka na okwu o kwuru zere n'igwe. Moderator ndewo. Kama ihe na-ekwu anyị kwesịrị ititi ọnụ maka ụmụarụ ndị nọ na nzukọ anyị taa. O nwere picture, ma anyị avụtala picture ọhụ during colonial Nigerian time. Queen of England came. They had the Sultan of Sokoto. And then you had the Eze Aro. I think there were just about 4 traditional rulers. Obi of Onitsha was not there. And many of the traditional rulers that, we hear their names today, they were not there. In fact, the Eze Aro was the only traditional ruler from Eastern Nigeria. Obong of Calabar wasn't there. So if you think about the Eze Aro stool from a historical, traditional point of view, that's where that comment and statement that I made is coming from. The Eze Aro stool is not a creation of the colonial masters. Some of the stools that you have are creation of the colonial masters. The Eze Aro stool is a truly historical, ancient, indigenous Igbo throne. And it is all of our collective responsibility as Umuaro both to tell our story and to preserve the eminence of that stool and that throne for the interest of all of ourselves as Umuaro and the entire Igbo race. Because when you have a stool that nobody can assail as a creation of colonial masters or a creation of people's recent ambition, it is what it is. Na ihe Eke-Okoro nna Anyiwo chekwara dozie omerute n'aka anyị nde bịa mebie anyị emezi. Ihe mere anaghị anụ Eze Aro na okwu anaghị eru Eze Aro n'okwu ma ihe gbasara Nigeria na-ada. Agam onye anyị tinyere n'oche ọhụ ma eme okwu eru anyị, ọnụ eru anyị n'okwu, ọnụ ama eru anyị n'okwu. Agaọza amasị m onwe, ọ dị ka anyị emeela ihe kwesịrị ime ịhọpụta eze ọnụ kwesịrị iru n'okwu. I think I have my work cut out for me to make sure na Nigeria dum and indeed the whole world understands the value of this stone. And that when this stone speaks, Nigeria and the world should listen. And that will come from the depth of thought that we put into what we do and what we say, and the credibility that we bring to what we do and what we say. I think that is going to be important. And my appeal to Umuaro dum nona collabo. Agis are doing hege. When we hear other kingdoms and other people, their traditional stools being projected and promoted, aga was a mehe. Umuaro obula ebe obula wono. ihe ọbụla gbasara Eze Aro, okwu ọbụla gbasara Aro, ihe gbasara Aro diaspora kwesịrị anyị mkpa, and anyị kwesịrị iwepụta ivu eji evu na ebuzoro okpokoro a ka ọ bụrụ nke mbụ na Abia State, ka ọ bụrụ nke mbụ n'ala Igbo, soro na nke mbụ n'ala Nigeria, if not Africa and the whole world. I think we can do it. I believe we have the opportunity to do it. It should be our singular commitment to make it happen. I think on that note, Mazi kam kele Umuaro dum aganza nọkọ na abalịta kpaa ụbụbọ kwuo okwu. Enwere m olileanya na-atụkwasị Chineke obi na ala Aro adịla mma ma dịrị anyị na mma n'aha Jizọs.
Amen.
Anakụkwa dị aka. Anakụkwa dị aka.
Long live our king. Long live our king.
We love you so much.
Digital expert. 1 century
On that note, Biko, I want to, because I want to.
Fred in the war against I'm organizing. Against I'm managing my time, my head to be there.
Okay, Biko, Nachom, come here.
Royal Majesty.
Come
Amen.
A kingdom is glorious as their king.
Well, because I want to apologize to the two people. I can't have it up. Next time, when we have an opportunity, Biko, thank you. Eze Gazuike. Biko, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, you don't need to apologize. Already, you asked the question, you took it out of my mouth about the preservation of our culture and making sure it's passed down to the generations unborn so that they would not get or getting the wrong picture or wrong history of Aro. You took it out of my mouth and I appreciate that. So you don't need to apologize. Thank you very much.
People should write their questions on the chat, please.
Eze, we love you.
Adjournment. Next meeting.
Hi, Pastor Francis Ndo from Arochukwu here. I move for the adjournment of this meeting tonight.
Oh, Mazi.
Okeybo mama. Zure zune me.